You wake up to an alarm, then another, then 5 more. You're rushing, you're stressed, you're already behind before your day even starts, and you wonder why you feel exhausted by noon. Meanwhile, in Switzerland, something fascinating happens. Most people don't use alarms, not because they're superhuman, but because they've designed their lives so they don't need to. Switzerland has one of the world's most punctual cultures. Their trains run within 30 seconds of scheduled time. Their economy is built on precision, yet paradoxically, they report some of the lowest stress levels in the world. How? Here's what's shocking. It's not about discipline or willpower. It's not about motivation or personality type. It's about design. Most people think time management is about doing more, but the Swiss figured out something different. It's about designing a life so perfectly that you don't fight yourself constantly. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 time management habits that Swiss people live by. Not extreme productivity hacks, not systems that require constant willpower, just realistic habits based on how your brain and circadian rhythm actually work. And I'm going to share the psychology and science behind them so you understand why they work. By the end, you'll know exactly how to redesign your relationship with time so you feel calm, in control, and genuinely productive. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about why designing your time even matters. Think about your home. Without a good layout, you waste steps constantly. You're searching for things, you're bumping into furniture. Living there is exhausting. Your day is the same. Without good design, you waste energy constantly. You're fighting decisions, you're reacting to chaos. Living it is exhausting. Here's the truth. Most people fail at time management because they treat it like a discipline problem. They think if they just work harder, push more, say no to more things, it will work. But that's backward. Time management isn't about willpower, it's about environment design. Your brain makes about 35,000 decisions per day. By afternoon, your decision-making ability is depleted. That's why you make terrible choices by evening. When you design your time properly, you reduce decisions, you create defaults, you build a rhythm. Your brain doesn't fight you, it cooperates. That's why someone can work 8 hours structured and feel energized, while another person works 6 hours chaotic and feels destroyed. The Swiss figured this out centuries ago. Precision and rhythm aren't about pressure, they're about permission. Permission to relax because you trust the system. Let me show you how. Habit 1 is almost invisible but foundational. Swiss people wake up at the same time every single day. Not because they're rigid or obsessive, but because they understand something neuroscience has proven. Your body has a circadian rhythm that controls when you sleep, when you're alert, when you should eat. When you honor that rhythm consistently, everything else becomes easier. Most people wake up at different times every day. 6 a.m. weekdays, 9 a.m. weekends, 7:30 a.m. when they're tired. This chaos keeps your nervous system perpetually confused. Your body never learns when to be alert. It's constantly guessing. So you need alarms, you need coffee, you need to force yourself awake. But when you pick one wake time and keep it, even on weekends, something magical happens. Within 2 weeks, your body learns. You start waking naturally before the alarm. Your energy is stable. You don't need caffeine to function. You're genuinely alert because your nervous system trusts the rhythm. Pick one wake time that works for your life. Maybe 6:30 a.m., maybe 7 a.m. The exact time doesn't matter. What matters is consistency. Then, even if you don't feel tired, go to bed at a time that allows that wake time. Your body will adjust within days. This one habit eliminates the need for alarms, not because you're disciplined, because your body is finally working with you instead of against you. If habit 1 is the anchor, habit 2 is the preparation. Most people work until they're tired, then collapse into bed whenever. This keeps your nervous system activated. Your brain is still processing work stress. You don't sleep well. You wake up still stressed. Swiss people do something different. They have a shutdown ritual that signals their nervous system that work is complete. This isn't about going to bed early. It's about intentionally closing work before evening begins. The ritual looks different for everyone, but the structure is the same. Step 1. Set a work cutoff time. Maybe 6 p.m., maybe 5:30 p.m. When that time arrives, work stops. Not gradually, completely. Step 2. Close your workspace. Put the laptop away. Clear your desk. This visual signal tells your brain that work is done. Step 3. Do something calming for 30 to 60 minutes. Read, walk, cook. Anything that's genuinely relaxing, not more screen time. Step 4. Prepare for sleep. Dim lights, reduce screen time. Let your body temperature drop naturally. Here's why this matters. When you have a shutdown ritual, your brain trusts that work is contained. You're not thinking about emails at 11 p.m. You're not waking up stressed. Your nervous system actually relaxes because it knows the boundary is firm. Most people try to sleep while still in work mode. That's like trying to swim while holding a rock. This ritual is that rock dropping. Habit 3 is where the Swiss design really shows. They don't just schedule tasks, they schedule space between tasks. Most people fill their calendar completely. Meeting at 9 a.m., meeting at 10 a.m., meeting at 11 a.m., back to back to back. What happens? You're running 10 minutes late from the first meeting. Now you're late to the second. You're stressed, you can't focus, you're constantly playing catch up. The Swiss do something radical. They build in buffers. A 30-minute meeting isn't scheduled as 9 a.m. to 9:30. It's scheduled as 9 a.m. to 9:30 with 15 minutes of buffer time built in, so the next meeting doesn't start until 9:45. This buffer time isn't wasted. It's used for transitioning, walking between meetings, making notes, taking a breath, drinking water. In one study, people with buffered schedules reported 40% less stress and 25% higher productivity than those with back-to-back scheduling. Why? Because your brain needs transition time. Context switching costs energy. When you eliminate buffers, you're constantly context switching with no recovery. When you build in buffers, you're building in recovery. Your brain can actually focus. You're not constantly running. We're a third of the way through. Everything so far has been about rhythm and structure. Now comes the application. Habit 4 is where productivity actually happens. Swiss professionals don't work in scattered 1-hour chunks. They work in protected 2-hour blocks. Here's why 2 hours specifically. Most people can maintain genuine deep focus for 90 minutes. Then your brain needs a break. A 2-hour block includes that 90-minute focus window plus 30 minutes for notes and recovery. During this block, everything else stops. Email is closed, notifications are off. Your phone is in another room. Not mostly off, actually off. The magic happens because of something called context preservation. When you work for 2 hours on one thing, your brain becomes deeply engaged. You enter flow state. Solutions emerge that wouldn't in scattered focus. Studies show that 2-hour deep work blocks produce 5 times more quality output than scattered 1-hour sessions. So Swiss professionals schedule 2 of these blocks per day, maybe 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., maybe 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Everything else is secondary. This isn't about working longer, it's about working smarter. 2 hours of real focus beats 8 hours of interrupted work. Between those 2-hour blocks, Swiss people take real breaks. Not 5-minute screen breaks, real breaks. 15 to 20 minutes of actual rest and movement. This is where most people fail. They finish work and immediately start another task. No transition, no recovery. By day's end, they're completely depleted. The Swiss have a simple rule. Every 90 to 120 minutes, take a break that includes movement. Walk, stretch, do something physical, get outside if possible. The movement does 2 things. First, it physically resets your body. Sitting creates physical tension. Movement releases it. Your posture improves. Your circulation improves. Second, it mentally resets your brain. When you step away from work, your subconscious continues processing problems. You come back with fresh perspective. This isn't laziness, this is maintenance. Your body and brain are tools. Tools need maintenance or they break down. By mid-afternoon, people who skip breaks are exhausted. People who take strategic breaks with movement are actually fresher than they were at lunch. Habit 6 might seem simple, but it's radical in most workplaces. Swiss people actually take their lunch hour, not eat at their desk while working, actually take it. In most countries, lunch is something that happens between work, an interruption. In Switzerland, lunch is sacred time. It's protected. You don't schedule meetings during lunch. You don't eat at your desk. You stop working, you genuinely rest. Here's what's fascinating. Companies that protect lunch hours actually have higher productivity than those that don't. Why? Because your body and brain are literally running on fuel consumption. Lunch refuels you. When you skip it or work through it, you're running on empty by afternoon. When you actually take lunch, your afternoon productivity is 30 to 40% higher than it would have been. Plus, when you protect lunch, you're telling your nervous system that you matter, that your well-being is valued. This simple act reduces stress and increases job satisfaction. Most people are exhausted by 3 p.m. because they've been running without fuel since 9 a.m. Swiss people are still energized at 3 p.m. because they actually ate a real lunch. The final habit ties everything together. Swiss people have a firm boundary between work and personal time. In most cultures, work bleeds into evening. You check email at 8 p.m., you think about work while watching TV, you wake up thinking about work. In Switzerland, work has a defined end. Maybe it's 5:30 p.m., maybe it's 6 p.m. When that time arrives, work is genuinely over. You don't check email. You don't just quickly do one more thing. Work is done. This isn't laziness or lack of ambition. It's actually the secret to long-term success. Research shows that workers who protect their evenings actually produce more quality work over time than those that don't. Why? Because your brain needs genuine rest to produce your best work. If you're always working, you're never fully rested. You're always operating at 70% capacity instead of 100%. When you have a firm evening boundary, you actually relax. Your nervous system genuinely recovers. You sleep better. You wake up genuinely rested. You bring your best self to work. Most people operate at 60% capacity because they're chronically depleted. They compensate by working longer hours, which depletes them more. This is the cycle the Swiss broke by protecting their evenings. So here's what's fascinating about Swiss time management. It's not about squeezing more into every day. It's the opposite. It's about designing a life so efficient that you need less time to accomplish more. Most people try to solve time problems with harder work. The Swiss solved it with better design. They asked, how can we structure our day so we don't fight ourselves, not how can we work harder? That's the difference. When you implement these 7 habits, something shifts. You're not constantly struggling against your own biology. You're working with it. Life becomes less exhausting, more productive, more peaceful. So there you have it, the 7 time management habits that Swiss people live by. Not extreme productivity hacks, not systems that require constant willpower, just realistic design principles that eliminate the need for constant fighting. If you implement even 3 of these habits, you'll notice something immediately. Your stress decreases, your focus improves, you actually have energy by evening instead of being completely depleted. That's not magic, that's biology. If this helped you, hit that like button. Subscribe for more videos on how cultural design beats individual willpower. Drop a comment telling me which habit you're implementing first. I read every single comment. Because time management isn't about discipline, it's about design. It's about creating an environment where you don't have to fight yourself constantly. The Swiss didn't become the most punctual, least stressed country by being more disciplined than everyone else. They became that way by designing better systems. You can do the same. Start with one habit, then add another. Within a month, you'll notice you don't need alarms anymore. You're waking naturally, you're on time everywhere, you actually have energy. Not because you're suddenly more disciplined, but because you designed your life to work with you instead of against you. So pick one habit, start tomorrow, and prove to yourself that time isn't something you manage through willpower. It's something you design through wisdom. See you in the next one.